Thanks for joining me on this video, traders. This is Mike Hamilton with the weekly review, and I'm starting off with the Dow, but then I'm going to switch to some bellwether stocks just to sort of gauge where this market is potentially going. And this weekly chart is just in this apex. There's the huge channel that we've had since we kicked off to the upside on March 2009, so it's 6 years into this bull market, and we're range bound. So 18,200 is the top of that apex, and then we've got the trend line running across the bottom. So we had a bullish close last week and a very hesitant close. Right, so 2 weeks back was a bullish bar, and then last week we were pretty flat. We closed at 850, but we had highs of 260. So 500 point range. But if you then look to the daily chart, you can see we've got, take the fibs off. You can see we've got a very, very clear chart pattern here. We are holding the trend line just narrowly, but we keep selling at the highs with lower highs. That's the third lower high here, so this is potentially a fib 3-wave reversal pattern with a very severe, relatively severe close on Friday, having engulfed the week's price action. So unless we turn around and close above at least 17,900 on Monday, this is toast. What might happen is we might play around in this area for at least 1 or 2 days, but if we push up into 18,000 and then start rolling over, this could, once we close under 17,850, this could accelerate quite fast. On the other hand, close above 18,100 or 200, and then this could run like Billy-O to the upside. What do I think is going to happen? I think by the time we look at some of the bellwether stocks, I think that there's a lot of pressure on the downside. So my bias has to be with a bar like that to the downside. That is a very unconvincing close. In what was a very low volume couple of weeks, I have to say. But I think the main issue with the markets is we've seen some data from China showing a slowdown in China. We've seen more aggressive politics from Russia, and one of the biggest economic issues hanging over the markets at the moment is Greece. Greece is very, very close to running out of money with no solution. So I think that's hanging over the markets, and that is seen in the stocks. As we now look at some bellwether stocks. I mean, the last videos I did on stocks middle of last week was looking for bear signals on UK stocks. Well, if we now look at US stocks, here's a bellwether. Goldman's new high, close below next day. This is okay. We're trapped inside a range now, but that is a short at 199.60. Look at Facebook. A poor week, pushes up into resistance at 84. It's a nice start to the week, and then we spent the second half of the week, more on the second half of the week, selling. Okay, back to support, but these are not good stocks. Bank of America, closing lower for the week under that 55 EMA. So you have to be bullish with a market like that. Bearish, what am I saying? Sorry. Get my story straight. You have to say that is bearish. I mean, if you look at the small cap index in the US, the Russell, that is, you can see the apex I've got drawn here. That is a potential. That's a reversal bar under that resistance. So we start breaking these weekly lows on all these indices, and we could see quite an acceleration of the downside. We are still mid-reporting season, so yeah, just take it easy. If we any pullback to around about the 950, 980 area, assuming we can't get to 18,000 on Monday, is a sell opportunity. Now we are very light on data this week, very light on data, particularly the first half of the week. Monday there's practically nothing. I can't remember seeing a Monday where we're quite that light. We got Aussie monetary policy minutes on Tuesday. Got some CAD data at an hour before the US Open on Tuesday. Wednesday we've got Japanese trade balance, Aussie inflation, UK rates, US house inflation. So Wednesday's when we start to really sink our teeth into some good data. And then Thursday, European inflation, UK retail sales, weekly jobs, and then Friday we are very light again. Core durable goods on Friday. So we hit a lot of data around about the Wednesday, early Thursday, and then we start to pull off again. So this is a week to just let the markets come to you. Okay, so what does that mean for markets? The US dollar yen normally follows the Dow indices. So if the Dow is going to be weak, expect to see some weakness in this one. Now, although that's a bit of got a few bottoming tails on that, this is seeing a lot of low volume. The weekly is very flat. I think at the very least we need a drop to get this one going, to get some volume into this, and with a chart pattern like that, we could see, bear in mind we failed at 120, we could see 115 at this rate, or certainly these lower levels. I wouldn't short that one. What I would do is I'd watch this US dollar CAD. We've had 3 days of heavy selling with some holding patterns on Friday. So a pullback, this looks as if it could pull up. That's a hammer on a fib level. So I'm not going to trade Monday. I'm really going to stay, it's that quiet on data and markets like this, I'm just going to let the markets come to me. So if we see 121.34, which from memory was the data level, and incidentally that was a good call from the member in the trading room who called the data 15 on this one. I didn't trade it, I should have done. I think it will come into 121.50, 121.70 area, possibly lower, and then retest some of these highs up here. At which point I think that could roll over. But I think with short term we'll see a retracement of that one. And my 2 favourite charts are these pound Aussie dollar. I think if we see any move to the Friday's lows at 191.50, or we may even only see 192, somewhere around that area. This is probably the only trade I would take on Monday. I think that's a stopping bars, a close above the 50% fibs. We are trapped between the 50 and the 200 daily moving average, but there's a stopping bar on the weekly as well. And I think we could come up and retest these higher levels. So I'll certainly be watching for the open and see how that behaves, but being cautious. The other one I really like is this CAD yen. Absolutely kicking myself for not trading this when I should have been trading it on Wednesday. But I think, as with most opportunities in the markets, it's going to present. I think it's going to present another opportunity, and I think the pullback is going to be potentially 96. So if we come into these markets and this US dollar CAD pulls back to 96 down here, I think we'll undershoot this support. At least this is what I'm hoping for, and come down and retest that 96, and then potentially push up to parity. So I'm going to wait for that to pull back and be very, very keen on the pound Aussie dollar. In the meantime, what we're seeing on the other pound pairs, there's a very bullish close on the weekly pound US. That I had this line up here 149.70 since since we came down, pushed down here. This bar here, which we have still not closed outside of this range here on the March 18th. That's a Fed day. So I think we're going to see a retracement to 148. As long as the markets don't fall off the edge of a cliff, I would expect this to hold 148 and then push up to 152. So again, I'm just waiting for these markets to come to me. This is in a very interesting chart pattern. I've actually drawn a triangular pattern there from these lows on September 2011. You can see this triangle picks up the resistance levels on the way up, but gets breached here in 2013. But we're pushing on this big box here. We're in this apex, but it's a higher close. So we've engulfed the previous week's bar. So I'm not looking for a sell-off in this one. I'm looking for this to come down, retest some of these hammers here at 177, possibly lower, 176.60. And again, as long as the markets don't completely roll over, this could hold. And euro. So again, it's a very the euro has held up during the week extremely well. So any retests of 109.40, this area here, or who knows, the weekly is very, very low. We could do a full retest, retrace to some of these higher levels. 101 will be a great opportunity to get short if it does push up to that level. Again, topping tails, but they are higher closes. So all the more reason with some mixed signals in this market. I mean, that euro yen has got a little weekly hammer. Very feeble push up. So there's no hurry for that to push up. So look for weakness into this. If you want to trade the euro yen, I would look for weakness in 128.85, that sort of area, just slightly higher than where we are now. But then just back to the indices. So we looked at the Dow, we looked at the Russell. This is the Nikkei. It was still within the previous week's range, like the Dow is. So that's why I don't think you can afford to get hugely bearish, but just be ready for some pullback. The DAX has had a terrible time, and yet this is the week where I didn't realise it at the time, but it's about 3, 4 or more banks have raised their expectations for German growth, GDP, and yet technically this market was a fantastic sell signal, and this chart pattern is very, very strong. The euro US had a chart pattern like that just before it really crashed down to these current levels. But about 18 months ago, this was showing a very, very similar chart pattern. But sitting on the daily 55, but that's a sell signal on the weekly, completely engulfed the previous week, with no sign of any buying towards the end of the day. So Germany is very, very exposed to Greek bonds. So the market, hence the reason why my feeling is the market is reacting overridingly to the issues to do with Greece. FTSE, similar chart pattern to the DAX. Weekly has hit a fib level, so that the FTSE looks as if that could come down to 68.90, at which point look to see if that buy is going to get bought. So that's a short at 70.40 with the potential. Not sure it's going to get up there, but if it does, watch out. Because that could come right down to these levels, at which point you may want to see if that's going to reverse and hold and push back up to the resistance levels. Gold. You see, the safe haven of gold is getting bought. So all you got to do is close above 12.05, 12.10, and that could push into 12.50 and retest this. I think it's going to retest this resistance level up here at 12.15 and 12.25. Any close above those levels, we'll see that get up to 12.50 quite quickly. But overall, it's sideways. We've got two lower closes in that weekly. I'm not trading that, but that is a bullish close on Friday. So if you are into gold, then the 1200 mark could be an option with a stop under that 11.95. If this gold does get strong, then my pound Aussie trade may not work. Oil. I'm not doing anything with oil as it's a spinning top. Strongly weekly close, very weak volume the last couple of days, and I think this is looking for a retrace of I think the main support is 54.50, but we could easily come lower and test 53. But I think short term that is going to see some weakness. We're only just into this new contract, so there's plenty of time for this one. Again, I'll just let this one come to me, and then I will get interested in that. Hence the CAD pairs. I think the CAD will. Oil can be a good influence on the CAD, so any weakness in the oil in the first part of the week could drag that CAD yen down for me and help on the upside of US dollar CAD. So US dollar CAD first part of the week is probably the better trade for the first part of the week, and then midweek I'd start to look at CAD yen and potential support levels on the pound pairs. Alright, so that's my plan. Traders Roundtable on Monday, you must be there because I'm going to talk about my trade plan, my swing trade plan. Alright, so I reveal the setups and the structure of that trade plan, and that will be very useful for for every trader out there who is serious about improving their trading and making sure they have a grasp on the bigger picture and a grasp on their trading accounts. Alright, enjoy what's left of your weekend, and I look forward to seeing you at Traders Roundtable. I will be in the Skype room, but I will not be in the trading room unless there's some very interesting markets. I'm happy to open up the trading room on Monday if I think it's worth it, but so just stay tuned to the Skype room and let's get these markets come to us. But I'm expecting a very sloppy, quiet Monday, but you expect the unexpected. All right, bye for now, and thanks for listening.